Hello, welcome to Mr. Santiago's virtual art class for PS 36. Students, today we are going to create landscapes. Now we've this is something we've built on because we have created 1 point perspective projects. Um, just to remember the train tracks going off into the distance. Then we also did recently the Mount Fuji with cherry blossoms project, which was another landscape. This one is going to incorporate a lot of the different things we learned making those projects, and it's going to really be a tour de force for you students to show all the things you learned about what a landscape is. A landscape is always a picture that is horizontally drawn. This would be portrait mode. This is landscape, and it would basically be, basically long sides on the top and bottom, shorter sides on either side. And you're not going to make that per se. You're going to kind of incorporate some of the things you did in that project with the one you're going to do today. So a natural landscape is what we're going to try. And it is a landscape that is made up of a collection of landforms, such as mountains, hills, plains, and plateaus, kind of incorporating the idea of a landscape, which is a part of Earth that can only be viewed at one time and from one place. So you're looking at one place in particular, kind of capturing a moment in time. If you return the next day and it snows, it's going to be different. That time that you're looking at the landscape from one particular place. And that's what a landscape is. So we're going to go over different words that are going to be helpfully meaningful to creating a landscape, depending on what you're going to do. You may want to draw people on it, but you don't have to. I know some of you feel like you enjoy doing that. You can go ahead and try based on the slides and the PowerPoint I'm going to attach. You're going to see different landscapes that don't really have people, but instead natural landforms, trees, cactus, mountains, for places that were more like cityscapes. You'll see light posts and park benches and people. But let's begin. So the number one thing you're going to focus on is the idea of foreground, middle ground, and background. And with that, we're going to return to our old favorite, the train tracks going off into 1 point perspective. And it's called 1 point perspective because you're imagining yourself standing here, like my hand is kind of like going on, and it's looking down the train tracks, which I don't recommend, it's not safe. And you're going to, in effect, look down the train tracks and look into the distance. Where the train is the point where it basically, everything gets so small that it's hard to figure out, almost vanishes from your point of view. And everything gets smaller based on that. The cactus, let's imagine they were all the same size, are gradually getting smaller and less detailed because they're going off into the distance. Other objects, like if you get close to the foreground here, you'll see gravel. The railroad ties have the gigantic metal bolts that hold it down onto the rail. You'll see wood grain, things like that. These are things that are not going to be evident going off into the middle of the drawing. So this would be the foreground, this is the middle ground, and that's the background, where everything is really small, a lot more compressed, less detail than what's going on here. Even the color fades, if you try doing it, really has you would see in a photograph or based on life. So that's that. The horizon line, I'll go ahead and show that maybe. Again, is this line going across your picture. It's a horizontal line that kind of gives you that point of reference of where things are going off into the distance. Sometimes the horizon line is completely blurred, covered by trees, mountains, people, and that kind of refers to us after we discuss scale, overlapping. So that is the horizon line. Okay? This is going to be scale. And I'm going to use people to refer to it, so it kind of becomes a little easier. So here we have three ladies, and these women are in kind of what could be described as what the scale for foreground, middle ground, and background. So here we have a smiling woman. She is in a lot of detail. You can make out, her eyes, her eye color very carefully, the buttons on her blouse, all kinds of her haircut, the way it's combed, detail and close up. She's in the foreground. She's closest to you. This person in the middle, is in the middle ground. She is a lot farther away. That scale reflects her being in the distance. This makes it look 3D-like. Then we refer to the person in the background. She's doing some yoga. She is smaller than her. If a point of reference could be if I were to take maybe a pair of scissors, she is almost the entire length of this pair of scissors. If I compare this scissor to the yoga woman, she is shorter. So that shows that, not that she's just a shorter woman, but that she's farther into the distance. So that is scale. The last thing I want to show you is overlapping. Overlapping is, let's borrow another woman, which I've cut out of a flyer, would be her kind of like resting on here, kind of like covering up her bag. Maybe, and that's overlapping. That also shows that objects are occupying space in your drawing. And, maybe she'll say, hey, you're covering my bag. Please get up in front of it. I'm taking a picture. But overlapping is really an important aspect in your art. So let's quickly go over what I feel would be nice points of reference to making your drawing a landscape. For this, we're not going to need a lot of art materials. Basically, your ruler, if you don't have a ruler, a nice handy dandy sturdy book, you could place it over where you want the line to draw and just draw it has a straight edge. But I'll use my ruler for this, and I'm going to draw my horizon line. So I'm going to kind of situate it like that, make it a little easier for everyone to see. Maybe prop up a little bit here, and I'll draw my horizon line. So I've done that. Then I'm going to maybe create the idea of a tree. Kind of like it is kind of just occupying this space here, and kind of going that. This right here, you fall into this idea of overlapping right away. So we don't need to keep this line. You can just blur it out of the way, and here is the tree. It's kind of reaching into our point of view, kind of occupying this space. Using the side of my pencil to kind of quickly get this line work down. I'll add more detail later. I'll add leaves and things of that nature that might make this more realistic. So I have that going on. Then maybe over here I'll go ahead and add some different trees. And this will be what I call the middle ground. Right? It'll be right here, kind of like going maybe another one here to kind of give you a point of where this stuff is going on. Middle ground, maybe some rocks, maybe over here. Maybe I'll then kind of create a kind of a river kind of going through here. And we'll do that. And this little brook will extend itself out. So here is my river. Again, incorporating that lesson that we learned on 1 point perspective. It'll pull you towards that area where you notice things are getting smaller. Then we're going to add trees again, but my scale is a lot smaller because these trees are just a lot farther in the distance. And this is how I'm going to kind of let you know that that's going on. This tree here, maybe looking at this, maybe I want to add a hilltop here. Again, creating distance, right? A hill of this size might be as large as half of Staten Island, but it fits in your drawing because of the idea that it's off into the distance. And here I'm going to create maybe this hill or mountain, just larger, so much so that it comes off the paper. That's okay. My tree did that here. It seems to be kind of leaning in, like almost like, hey, you got me in the photograph here? And it's leaning into this picture. Here, I'm going to eventually go and add detail and things like that. Leaves, that'll take a good amount of time. Here, we're going to do that. Scale, again, my trees are handing that out for me. I'm going to go ahead and add more detail to my trees as I want. Now this is just a suggestion. It doesn't not have to be like this for you at all. This could be just the way that I decided to go ahead and do that. One of the things that I'm going to add in regard to when you do this is drawing your horizon line kind of gives you an idea where everything's going to go off into the distance. That, help you place the rest of your picture. Any objects should be coming out of the middle area should, again, represent grass. I might add this a little bit of here. I could start coloring this in with crayon. One important note, you don't have to draw a sun in a corner of your picture. And because it's unnecessary. Either it's daytime or nighttime, you don't need to see the sun to show that. Pay attention to scale. Again, objects in the bottom of my picture are going to be larger, right? Like something like that. Maybe I'll draw something here. Maybe a boulder like sticking out like that. I don't know. Kind of like enjoy that and give it a more natural setting. And he's sticking out kind of like the big stuff happening on the bottom of the paper. This is your middle ground and this is your background. So your scale shouldn't be disrupted. You shouldn't draw a gigantic tree like all of a sudden back here. Might mess with the scale and make everything look a little weird. If you make a road or a river look like it's going off into the distance, it should get skinnier as it moves away, which I try to do that. Like, see how it got a little skinnier as it went off into the distance? Something to note. Okay, so I hope you enjoy making your landscape. I'll be looking for what you upload to Google Classroom. Make sure that when I see your photo that you click it, your assignment, and it's uploaded, and make sure that that picture is taken to reflect your wonderful drawings. I really look forward to seeing them. I want you to enjoy this lesson, and I want you to be safe and have a great day.